Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Manaz, and this podcast is for mums who want to carve out time so that you can work in ways that work for you, your life, your family, and of course, your business. Together, we will discover why you are not prioritizing your business and the actions that you can take so you can live an intentional, productive, and fulfilled life without mum guilt. So let's dive in to today's episode. Welcome to the fourth episode of Business Bliss for Mums from Hustle to Harmony. So today we are talking about setting realistic goals, achieving work-life harmony. So lots to talk about again today. And this is about striking that balance between your professional dreams and aspirations and your personal life. And this can be so challenging and it can change really fast and really quickly depending on what's going on as well. So we're going to explore the importance of setting realistic goals so that we can achieve this work-life harmony that we are striving for. So let's talk about strategies for setting achievable goals, okay? Now, in order for these to be effective, we need to define them clearly and we need to set them in a way that they follow the SMART criteria. So they're specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And this will give you a clear direction for your efforts and give you a path of, well, how is it going to be measured? Therefore, how can I make it happen? What is it that I need to do? Now, breaking these down is again really important because having that goal just feels like it's too big and we have to break it down. And if you have goals where the timeline is quite long term, then you can even break that down into smaller short-term goals with almost like having milestones at different stages. And this approach will help you to stay focused on what you are trying to attain, like the milestone and the fact that it's feeding into that bigger goal. And it really gives you that sense of progress. Now, aligning what you're doing is really important because you want it to be in line with your vision, ensuring that what you are setting out to do, it makes sense to have that goal. And that goal is going to help you. And they're both creating that sense of purpose and that direction. That is where they just are meeting in harmony, I guess. And then lastly, you also want to be making sure that you are reviewing this regularly. You want to assess where you're at. You also want to review because you might want to reassess that goal. Maybe it becomes, because of circumstances, things change. Maybe that goal is not attainable, or perhaps that goal needs to change. Maybe something happens, you realize that that's not the goal anymore. And it's absolutely okay to adjust these. What the goal will help you do is to work your way towards it. Now, if you keep changing that in line with how you're wanting your business to grow, that's going to be really effective. It's not a negative thing to do that. Now, next, talking about prioritizing tasks based on the importance and urgency, because we need to be working in a way that we're making progress, but we want to be progressing on the things that are actually going to help us. So you can feel like you've got all these things to do on your to-do list, and it can even feel like it's endless because you end up adding more on than you take away. But in order for us to maintain that work-life harmony, then we have to prioritize effectively. So here's how you can do that. Now you can use, you may have heard of the Eisenhower matrix, and this gives you a way to categorize based on their urgency and importance. So you can focus on tasks that are both urgent and important and you can delegate or eliminate tasks that are neither of those. And it just helps you to filter those things out. Time blocking is another important one because you can allocate specific blocks of time for that kind of high priority task that you want to move forward, something that you know is going to create an impact, something that will really help you, and you want to focus your efforts on it. And doing this time blocking, but being very careful about what it is that you do in that time, having that strategy behind it is going to help you to minimize the distractions and also boost your productivity. Then we need to make sure when we're doing all these things, as things come up, there will be requests, questions, maybe perhaps just our own mind wandering about. Learn to say no. And sometimes this can be the most powerful thing to do, even though it doesn't feel like it's empowering. Because when we say no, we're actually showing our commitment to the things we have already said yes to. And maintaining that balanced workload is important because otherwise we'll just become overloaded. And our time and our resources, like our energy, we don't want to be giving them to everything. I think here it's also worth mentioning that we want to be focusing on the results. So remembering that purpose that you have, not just being busy, not adding busyness to the day as a form of keeping us away from the important stuff, and measuring your success then based on those outcomes. Because if we're focusing on the results, we're trying to get something that is meeting those. And this is all just going to help to achieve the goal and not just be busy and filling our diaries and time with other tasks. Last but not least, we also want to be celebrating milestones and achievements, because this is something that as business owners, we are not very good at. Firstly, we don't always even acknowledge our progress. So this is key, keeping an eye on yourself, just like you would if you had an employee. Taking the time to recognize and acknowledge the progress that you are making, the steps that you have taken. When we look at that, it can be just as simple as accepting and acknowledging that this is an achievement, sharing it with your accountability buddies if you have them, sharing it with your colleagues, your friends, people in the business world who get you. And this is where having that tribe is important because they really will celebrate your success because they get it. Now, also rewarding yourself, because when you achieve something that is really significant, it can be a small type of indulgence. Maybe it's something that you're spending some time to do. It's like a reward you've given yourself. It just feels like you're making the point of really sitting with that accomplishment. And I think that's important too, because we keep on moving forward, but we're not often looking at how far we've come. So it is important. And then if you have a team, obviously celebrating each other's successes too, because it's actually really beautiful to see other people's successes and acknowledging the effort that somebody else makes. So if you don't have your own team, it might be somebody in your tribe. If you're a part of a membership, it's, other people who you're surrounding yourself with, appreciating their work. It can really boost us as well. And then reflecting and learning, because when we do celebrate those achievements, having a little pause moment and looking back at your journey, and even if things haven't worked out for everything you've done, which let's face it, will not, that's impossible for everything to work out, especially first time, identifying the learnings that you've had there and using them, really absorbing them so that they will help you to make better decisions going forward. I think understanding how we can set those realistic goals and how they can directly help us to achieve more work-life harmony is so important, because you are going to reap the benefits. And having more harmony means generally you will feel more calm and more empowered and feel more confident too. Confidence is not something that comes easily, but by doing these things, by actually taking the action, we are always working away, chipping away. And what that does is it builds our confidence just bit by bit, slowly but surely. It definitely has an impact. And that's powerful, because then that just goes back into the whole cycle, because we believe in ourselves more, and then we're able to do other things that we perhaps wouldn't have done without having that confidence. So it's so important to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with a tribe of business owners like you, who get you, who are on the same path as you. And even having different businesses, there are so many commonalities. The challenges are so much the same. Underneath it all, we're all mums in business, and we have we have the same achievements that we're wanting. They just take form in a different way. So it's powerful to be in that tribe. And if that's something that you feel is missing from your life, then do check out the Build with Boundaries Academy. I've had absolutely amazing testimonials that I have now put onto the website, so you'll be able to check them out. And I've had new members join, and with Saffron in particular, with her 6-week reflection, which is great for this episode because we're talking about reflecting back, and she is just buzzing with energy to get her business moving. And she knows now that she has the support she needs, because she has felt that something that has been missing, taking courses and programs that don't help you with the next thing you need to do and don't help you to implement what you know. Sometimes you know enough. It's not about going for learning and learning more things. It's about actually taking that action and making the action seem possible, making it consistent, and making it really achievable. And when you're working on your own, then it feels like you are struggling and just feeling stuck all the time. So if that's you, then do reach out. I'd love to chat to you, and I would definitely have a conversation to see if you're a good fit. There's no pressure to come into the academy, but I do think it's important to help the people who I can help the best. So therefore, you would need to have a chat with me, and I would love to have that conversation. And regardless whether you come into the academy, I think it can be really clarifying, looking at your business, hearing somebody else tell you things that you just can't see yourself. So I'm really excited. If that is you, do not hesitate and get in touch, and we will sort that out. So take care, and I'll be back for another episode next week.